Take that down a little more. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Na, 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 na. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, mhm, mhm, mhm. Mm. Seems I'm having some connection issues. It's not telling me what they are. But let's try turning the bit rate down a little bit. See how that goes. Unfortunately, I have no idea what I'm doing. Alright. What do I need? Hmm. Oh, hey Zook. Bear with me because I'm still getting this streaming thing figured out. I'm actually kind of using the stream as my I don't want to say a beta test because that makes it sound like I'm super unprofessional, but I'm also super unprofessional. So I'm just sort of I've got what I'm doing over here on one screen, and I've got the stream on the other, and the entire time it's screaming at me, poor quality. And I was like, tell me how to fix you. And I have no idea what to do. So I've never really streamed before. Hell, I barely know how to record. So not really my forte. We'll see how it goes. But right now I'm messing around with making a zoomed in map of Port Lions here. And the idea is, to give you some reference, we have, let's go to our Eurolon world map here. So we have Ravine Wood, and charred wood as two of the locations that our players will go. Alright, now having said that, I made zoomed in versions of ravine wood, which is rendering now. I made these zoomed in versions, and I added the rain, which may look really choppy on the stream, but I think that's just a stream frame rate, but the actual players see it a little bit better. You know, and I made some little rooms for them and such. And I made a charred wood. And I keep noticing buffering over there on the stream, so I worry. I'll have to have a look at that. Anyway, this is the zoomed version of charred wood, which is obviously spooky, scary mansion. Man, I keep noticing issues on the stream over there, and it bugs me because I don't know how to fix them. I almost want to try modifying the stream. I'm gonna type something in chat in case my voice isn't getting through. Hey, in case my Okay. I think that did it. I think we're good. At least, let me rephrase that. It's saying excellent under stream status, so I'm gonna assume that fixed it. Just let me know if it doesn't, because I would have no way of knowing otherwise. Let me know if you spot any issues with the stream. Actually, yeah, how does I'm asking you, how does the audio sound, because I don't know if you're actually hearing me. So so I'm going to type in, how's the audio? Oh god. Alrighty. But perfect. Alright. Glad to hear it. So, having done that, I'm going to quickly just get right into it then. Hopefully none of my players end up looking at this, because this is major spoilers for the campaign itself. But just to quickly reiterate for myself at this point, I've got Eurolon, which is the region map that the players are traveling through right now. And they've gone through Refuge, they've gone through the ruins of Alfgar, and they're at Lake Lyra right now in Crescent Vale. Well, they had recently been to Crescent Vale. And I'm kind of starting to finish up work on the north side of this ravine here. See, the thing is the players have plenty to do here in the south, to include general survival, as well as a couple of encounters that I have planned for them in this sort of pass here. Not quite Thermopylae, there's plenty of room, but I've got some stuff planned for them. And I've got ravine wood, charred wood, and the culmination of this chapter, the spire, put together and ready for them. It's just, I need to go through and do a couple things for the next chapter. So, for example, I showed ravine wood earlier, which was this little area with the terrain and all that. They get to arrive here, but I've got all their tokens ready, and I've got a couple of little rooms put together for them for when they do arrive here. And this is pretty much just a roleplay area and quest-giving area. But ultimately, Ravine Wood would theoretically lead them to want to go to its neighbor Chartwood, which has a pretty tragic backstory, and as you can tell, some bad juju went on here. So these are kind of how I create the zoomed-in maps for them to explore. But then I also will go use Roll20's features and create sort of we'll call them battle maps, the dungeon maps, which is what you're going to see here. This is more of a proper dungeon that the players are going to experience. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the dynamic lighting up. So right now, this is what the players would normally see. I'm going to grab our host of players here. It's a little laggy on this screen because I'm trying to stream it, and this screen's pretty intense. But I'm going to move our players, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just reset the fog of war. Come through here, because I've been using it to test. Obviously, I don't know how dark it is for you guys, but I'm going to reset the fog. And so this, the players can't see these lights, only I can because I'm the GM, and it's just the way it handles dynamic lighting. But what the players see is this little room here, and I'll decorate it. Right now I'm in more of just like building the functionality stage. I just have waves that I go through. And so this is sort of the room they'll come into the basement of the Ravine Wood Orphanage, or Chartwood Orphanage, as you will. And then they'll have to get through this sealed door, which we've got enough magic and brute force in the party that getting through this magically warded door, they'll figure something out. Usually what I like to do is just reward creativity. And since it's a magically sealed door, our big heavy guys aren't really going to be able to come in and just like beat it down with an axe. But then once they get through, I have these stairs here, and it was interesting making these stairs because the stairs are actually just a solid texture. So if I go to my map layer, this staircase here is actually just a single thing here that I've added these transparent stairs to. So it makes it look like, when I bring it back over here, it makes it look like a staircase, which a little thing I learned after a while of just fiddling with transparencies and all that. And it makes it look like these players are now going downstairs, because just the perception, we're going downwards in a direction. And you see what they say? Yeah, no, I'm aware of that, but the problem is that when you do the Control L and see what they see, it's just what that token can see. So if you have other light sources, so for example, if I use a secondary light source like a torch or a character, so for example, all these characters emit light, and because they're in the party, I allow the other players to see that light because it's just more fun for them to be able to see their stuff. And so if I hit Control L on this guy, this room is very small, so it wouldn't work that way. But the light sources, I wouldn't be able to, as a kind of like see them. I guess what I'm trying to say is by turning my vision to what the players see, I can see exactly what they see. Using Control L allows me to see specifically what that token sees, which I like, and I use that tons. I just also like to be able to passively look and say, okay, if I'm a player, what is my experience right now? What am I seeing? And that includes the other party members as well. And so what our players will do is, God, I hope the other viewer isn't a player of mine, because I don't know how to look to see who the player, who the viewers are. But as they come down these stairs, they'll come into this chamber here, and I'll describe to them more or less. I'll have a little bit more, we'll say, decoration. But this room, they're coming to this under this underground cavern, and there's water running through the base of the floor. They can feel it beneath their feet, and it's a simple solution. It really is. They just go swimming, right? So they'll just jump into the water here, and they'll make various checks along the way. But it's literally just designed to get their headspace where I want it, and that is jumping off, right? Jumping into the dungeon. That's kind of what I want them to do. And so when they jump into here, they're gonna go through some checks, and I'll give them like some crazy spin on like what's happening. Oh my God, they're underwater, underground. And then they'll arrive here. and they'll immediately be presented by this wall of fire, which I had considered trying to make it really a lot more in-depth as far as like decorations for this room, and give it more than just you fall into a room and there's a wall of fire. But I was thinking about that, and I was like, no, honestly, if I make this dungeon too heavy, the players are going to start seeing some lag. Because right now I'm streaming, and I haven't got my streaming figured out, so I'm getting a little bit of lag, but it's not so bad, you know. But the more I start layering and layering and layering on top of it, the more I think the players are going to start getting taken out of the experience. So I'm just leaving it simple and cutting corners where I can. Like I use a lot of these. If you may have, I don't know if you've noticed this right here, but this, it looks a lot like there's an under area there, like there's something like the water is passing beneath it. But in reality, I just took another transparency. So these are my eyelashes, is what I call them, and I just laid it over top of this edge here, right? So now it just looks like, you know, it looks like instead of there's a solid cutoff of the wall there, I added this transparency to it, and it's just my eyelashes. And now that you know what you're looking for, you can probably tell. It probably sticks out. But to the average viewer, to the average player, it just looks like, you know, oh yeah, that's where the water goes. It goes underneath there, you know. And that's not even the best like transparency, you know, use, I guess you could say. Like, there's better ways to do it. That's just the best I could do. And there's a couple of ways the players can get through this. It's literally just a wall of fire. It's a magical wall of fire, big fuck off fireball at the end of the hall. And the players will have various means of getting through it, whether they have magic spells or items. I've placed a couple of items in the world that I don't want to spoil that would help them get through this if they happen to pick them up. But I'm just I like to let them be creative. You know, we try to balance things and make things like, oh, how is my party going to deal with? But the reality of it is that they'll come up with things that we never thought of. Like, could just never have imagined, you know. And I'm very confident that given their spells and their abilities and just their general minds and the equipment they'll have at the time, that they'll find a way to dispel this ball of fire. And so then they'll proceed on into the next room, which is this room is also why I like to do the players see other light sources from each other, because when I bring the rest of the party in here, actually I'm going to condense them down a little bit so when I drag and drop it doesn't get stupid. But when we bring the rest of the party in here, this what was a weirdly lit room is now pretty much fully lit, you know, as they spread out, so we can see this smaller room they're in. I agree. I love the fuck it, let's see what they figure out method. yeah. But you know, so now they can kind of see a little more, and if they zoom in, they'll see that we've got 3 skeletons and a burn mark. I like to imagine that whatever happens in this room, like there was like a wizard who cast fireball in desperation and just kind of blew him and his buddies up. But yeah, so what we have here basically in this room is the door on the other end is not only magically sealed, but doesn't have a handle. There's no lock. There's no way to open it. It's not possible. And then they can hammer on it all they want physically, but there is no way to physically break through it. But if they examine, and I'll give them the clue that there is glass fragments on the ground at the door where they came in at, and on the door hanging there is what appears to have been a mirror that has now been shattered. And with that being the only thing in the room, I'm going to see if they come to the conclusion, either through breadcrumbs that I give to them, or whatever the case may be, see if they come to the conclusion of, okay, let's rebuild the mirror. Because usually you wouldn't come to that conclusion, but when you give them 3 bodies and some broken glass and that's it, they're going to start focusing on probably the bodies first. And then they'll realize that the bodies are what they're going to be if they don't figure this out. and then they'll start figuring, okay, well, that's the only clue we have is the glass and the mirror. And it's a broken mirror. Let's try to unbreak the mirror. So the theory behind that is they'll start putting the mirror back together, and the way I'm going to describe it to them is as they begin putting the pieces of the mirror back in place, they fit perfectly and they stick into place as they repair them. And as they begin to repair the mirror, they're going to start being able to see through the mirror. And on the other side, they're going to see 5 disfigured, dead, skeletal versions of themselves on the other side of the mirror, all in exactly the same position that they're currently standing in. And every time they put a piece of the mirror back in, the version of themselves on the other side is also putting a piece of a mirror back on. And so it's mirroring their actions, but it's these horrific versions of themselves on the other side. And each time I'm going to have them do this multiple times. We'll put a piece by piece by piece in, and each time I'm going to describe to them these dead versions of themselves doing the exact same action. And on the other end of the hall, on the other end of the mirror rather, they can see the door on the other side, just as they have one on their side. And when they do finish repairing the mirror, the 5 versions of themselves will jump out of the mirror and attack them, right? Which is a pretty standard encounter. Oh, we're fighting versions of ourselves. And they'll be literal versions of themselves, albeit a bit watered down. And they'll fight. They'll have a fight in this room, and I'm very confident that they'll kill the versions of themselves pretty quickly. But then those versions will come back. They will get back up, and they will keep fighting, and they will keep fighting the players until one of them realizes, we can go through the mirror. And when they do go through the mirror and they interact with the door on the other side in the mirror, the door on this side will open. Or if they open it, it will open. If they nudge it a little bit, it will nudge it. Whatever they do to the door on the other side, because it will have a handle and a lock. If they open that door, then this door will open. If they break the mirror, then they trap anybody on the other side in there until they rebuild the mirror. So it's an interesting little puzzle, and the enemy isn't too difficult. It's just one of those attrition kind of things where if you let it get a hold of you, it will break you down. You can't dawdle too long of just fighting and fighting and fighting. You'll never win. But once they break the mirror, all the versions of themselves go back into the mirror. The only problem with that is that if there's anybody left on the other side, they now have the 5 versions in there with them, and they'll have to fight them off until they can rebuild the mirror and get them out. So it could be this could be a puzzle that kills a player or multiple players if they're not smart about it. But I think with enough context clues that are provided there, I think that they'll kind of be able to get through that. For the sake of the video, I'm going to go ahead and turn the lighting level up so that we can see more of what's going on here. Let's see. Let's go in here. Let's do about 50% so you guys can still see the shadows and kind of get the idea. The dark areas are obviously places the players would not be able to see. So as they resolve that scenario, they'll come out here into this area. And I realize I'm just hitting them with one thing after another. But they'll come out to the next area, and it's literally just a walkway. It's just a walkway that is a chasm, a bottomless chasm, right? Which, the way I made this map is I took just solid textures like this, and I just wrapped it in this. You can see me dragging it around. It's literally just not a transparency, but it just looks like a darkness. So I just wrapped it in darkness. So now you can see how I just made it look a different way by using a couple of extra textures here. So it makes it look like it's a little pit. So I thought that was pretty neat. It's a neat little tool, and the players, obviously to them, it just looks like it's falling off. I feel a sneeze coming on. Let's see where it goes. There it was. Thank you. But I need to get that out. But this one's super simple. There's not like skeletons on the side of the mirror or anything. They literally just have to get across. Like it's just a movement puzzle. It's like crossing rapids in a river or something along that line. They've got rope, they've got spells, they've got legs. They can figure it out. And thank you, Mr. Zook. I spend entirely too much time with the engine. That's a big thing. The interesting tricks and stuff don't make me necessarily better when it comes to actually GMing. Like you've seen some of my videos, and you've seen that like sometimes I'll struggle with coming up with something on the spot, or I don't do very well with voices, or sometimes my role play in general, kind of, but yeah. So eventually though, I'm pretty confident that my 5 level 6, heroes of the realm here will figure out a way across a 15-foot gap. I hope. And, they'll make their way once again through these steps, which, unfortunately, the way perspective works with anything, I'm pretty sure these are going to look like upward-facing steps. I mean, you can see it yourself, I'm sure, where when traveling these steps here, it looks like it's going upstairs. And the reason it is for 2 reasons. One, I actually I have the texture flipped 180, so it is actually upside down. But because we're going north, quote unquote, our eyes see this as up. If you could trick your eyes for a minute, it would look down, but it's very, very difficult to do that, especially with like the assets given. And thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. But thankfully, what I decided to do with that was I'm not going to bring attention to the fact that that's north-south. I want it is down, right? But I'm not going to bring attention to it. Instead, what I decided to do is just wrap it. So what this does is it makes it seem like, okay, now we're going laterally across, but obviously down, right? Because again, perspective, our eyes can register that as down. And then we'll have another one here on the end, which will then basically, all right, we've got, if our brains registered one up, then now we have two down. So now we're 3 levels down, if we remember our earlier soiree, into the down. So our player's sense of depth will be, okay, we're down, we're 3 layers down. That's what we want. So then they'll get to a normal door. It'll be locked, right? But I'll let them, like, it won't be magically warded. They just gotta break into it. Reason I do that is again, I could just make the door unlocked, and I recognize that, but it gives any kind of roguish types the chance to be roguish. It gives, if we don't have that, we have a guy who wants to kick a door down, because at this point we've had magical puzzles, or we've had the jump puzzle. This gives players the chance to just like break a door down, which, at the end of the day, players getting to do violent things, they tend to like that, so you just sprinkle that in. And the players won't be able to see this guy. I just have him here as a placeholder for myself. This is going to be my my invisible stalker. And I'm going to have 2 or 3 of him, depending on kind of the condition the party's in when they get here. This is sort of a self-balancing check that I have built in, where I'll do a character that I know the players can beat, and then I'll say, okay, they can beat 1, what about 2? What about 3? What about 5? And the idea is I use a room, because this room is going to prepare them for the boss room, where we don't, despite what people may think, we really don't want our players going up against our bosses at full health with full spell slots and full resources. We want them to be taxed, because that makes the bosses more scary. I don't have my full arsenal. Oh, if only I could use Action Surge one more time, that kind of thing. So I'll use, whenever I can, I'll use a check room like this. Or just a check field, anything where basically I can control the difficulty based off just the quantity of the enemy. You can't really do that with like a big enemy, like a big monster, because why are there 3 of these things? This is nuts. But for a simple stalker character, this invisible stalker, I can easily and reasonably put 2, 3, or 4 of them in this room. And the way this room is going to work is if we turn the lighting down one more time. Actually, you know what we'll do? We'll do the Control L. And so I come in here and Control L. The way an individual player would see it is they'll be able to come in here. Oh, I just noticed it still shows the player's light. I don't know if it always did that, but it used to not be the case for me. But that's really helpful to know. But either way, the players, I've put dynamic lighting on the bookshelves, so that way they can't see around them as they go deeper and deeper in, looking for the motherfucker who keeps stabbing us in the back, right? Because there's someone who's attacking them, and they're not doing much of damage, because at this point the stalkers these aren't the greater stalkers, they're just normal. So they're not going to do a lot of damage, but they're invisible stalkers. So my hope, and I know this won't happen because this is what I hope will happen, my hope would be that the players would split up and start exploring, because basically they would encounter this, no, I can't move it, never get around. They would encounter this door up here, and what I'm probably going to do is decorate the door a little more, because unfortunately, with the way my lighting works and everything, this looks like a door, but the players may not immediately recognize it as one. So what I'm going to do is maybe put some footprints or something, just something to bring attention to the door, to like, I'll still narrate, hey, you pass a door, but you want to, every chance you get, draw the player's eye in the direction that you want them to travel. You want their eyes to naturally flow there and say, okay, this is where I'm going. So when you go to narrate that, it's not as jarring. They're already looking there, And so I'll draw attention there, but the point is it'll be another magically sealed door, right? And they can, mess with it and try to get it open, but nothing's going to happen. And really all it is I would actually allow them to break the door down, potentially. But it is magically sealed, and there's 2 ways for them to answer it. It has a secret password, and the password is in the room somewhere. And it's a room full of books, right? If they investigate enough, they'll find an old book with the password written on it, right? Is that extremely counterintuitive when you're talking about like evil dungeon boss 101? Absolutely. But for game design, it's honestly a pretty common thing to hide the answer to the puzzle somewhere in the room, and players can typically accept it so long as that isn't what the room is about. And it's not. The room is about the invisible stalker. So while they're searching for this invisible stalker, and theoretically the answer, we'll say, I'm hoping that they'll get a little bit separated from one another and they'll start having some issues, what have you. And so we'll see, more or less how that goes. But my plan is that they're in really good shape, if they're in really good health when they get here, then I'll have 3 or 4 stalkers in this room, all invisible. The players won't be able to see those tokens, and they'll be whittling away at their health a little bit, whittling away a little bit of their resources, or just making the mage cast a super good spell and ruin my entire plan. But if it drags on, my second alternative is, if it starts to drag on, the last stalker alive, if the players take more than 30 some odd minutes dealing with this problem, 30, 45 minutes, depending on, who has to pee in the middle of it, is, okay, the last stalker alive, in fear, will run out the exit and will leave the door unlocked, leave the door open for the players. So if the players naturally come to the answer and they naturally find the way out and manage to escape the invisible fiend, right, then cool, right? That's great. That's perfectly fine. But it's also cool for the players to kill 4 of these things. Like, we just butchered them because, different players, different playstyles. They just kill these 4 invisible stalkers because we don't play by your rules. And so then the 5th one flees and then thusly opens the door. Right? And the reason you do that is because if they kill the 5th one and that's it, what's left for them to do? Investigate the room, find the answer to the door, and then say that to the door. And this is where the GM just kind of has to gauge their player base. Would your players have more fun investigating a room and role-playing their way through that room, finding it, or would your players at this point rather move on to the next room? And this can be either based off your players, the experience they're currently having, what they're saying, or just how much time has passed. You kind of program in some leeway for yourself, and that's what I've done here. So whether it be the stalker opening the door or them, they'll proceed into the next room. And as I'm going through these rooms, I'm really hoping that the other concurrent viewer is not one of my players, because I know Zook. I don't know who the other one is, and I don't know how to look. But they'll go into this next room, and this next room is simple. It has a torch lit halfway through it, and on the other end, a wall, right? Just a wall, just as normal as the ones around them. Right? Now, bear in mind, the way the players see it is not like these square textures. These textures are ugly, personally. But if we remember, the way the players see it is the way I drew my dynamic lighting, is to make it look a bit more wavy. Now, obviously, we knowing what we're looking at, it's like, all right, yeah, that's a square texture and you can see it. But from the player's perspective, it's just a little wavy room, and it looks passable. It looks decent. The reason is these are very low-res textures, and I'm using a lot of them, so that'll help with the player's load on their client. But the room itself, as the players proceed down it, this torch is on the halfway point for a very specific reason, and that is once they arrive at the other end, there's no way out. And when they turn around to head back, they will find that this door has been replaced with a wall. Now, we do this for 2 reasons. 1, because we're trapped in a room now. Oh no, what do we do? 2, the reason we do this is to prevent the players from going back out the way they came and thinking, oh, we must have forgotten something in the previous room. All right, it's bad level design. If you ever create a scenario where players are backtracking in level design is always bad anyway. You don't ever want to backtrack unless there's something to do while backtracking. If there's something new or something has changed, backtracking can be a really good thing because now the room is full of lava. Oh no, what do we do? Right? But usually the room's not full of lava, and usually there's not a new thing to do, so you're just walking around. And that's bad, but usually backtracking means we just have to go back somewhere we've been. And okay, fine, the ends justify the means. But if you're backtracking because you think there's something you have to do back there, and there's really not, it's just the way forward wasn't clear, then now, not only are you backtracking and dealing with the drawbacks of backtracking and like, oh man, I've been here, done this, I've seen all this already, but also you're wasting time. And once players realize that they wasted all that time, that is just... it's just so deflating, you know? So you always want to remove the opportunity of wasting time. And I don't mean when you're exploring and traveling and seeing other things, because you as a GM can just make shit up. You know, you get some random dungeon generators, get some random encounter generators, and just go nuts. But when you're talking about a dungeon exploration, you don't want them to backtrack, at least as minimal as possible. It's a little bit easier when it's on pen and paper, because it doesn't feel quite so much, because you can just narrate them passing through the hallways and stuff. But when you're on a literal board, you are literally backtracking. So I said all that to say that we're going to replace this door with a wall, so that they can't. So that'll tell them, okay, we can't go back and we can't go forward. The answer is in this room. And I let them flounder a little bit, you know, and walk around and tinker on the walls and think and talk to the gods and whatever it is their abilities are. And eventually, after some investigation, if they can't figure it out, which there's really a reason they should, one of the investigation clues as they walk past the torch will be that as they are traveling north, their shadows are walking the opposite direction. So their shadows are walking, but their shadows are facing backwards. So as I'm going to give a little draw tool here to show you, or a ruler. As they walk this way, their shadows are also moving in that direction, but their shadows are facing this way, right? And it's like, well, what the fuck does that mean? Because then the next thing they're going to do is they're going to then, oh, well, our shadows are telling us to go this way. So they run back down the hall and nothing happens. But if they line up with their shadows, that is, if they walk backwards, if they walk to the north while facing the south, their bodies will be mimicking their shadows. And if they do that, their characters will walk backwards all the way into this room. As they're walking backwards, I'll have the wall disappear, basically. And they'll walk into this room. And they will have solved the puzzle, and the wall will not close in front of them, basically. The wall will remain open. But basically, it's to move forward, walk backwards. It's a pretty old puzzle concept. It's pretty simple, but the point is that it's something that the players can solve reasonably easily, but it does make them feel like they've solved a riddle. I'm usually not one for riddles, and when I do them, I want them to be interactive riddles, not like, you know, what has 4 legs, 2 blue eyes, and green hair, like, you know, xylophone. Yep, you've done it. Congratulations, you passed. You know what I mean? It's like, because what riddles are is usually, especially when you're playing online, is who can Google it the quickest, usually. I mean, let's just be honest. When we're talking about riddles, for the most part, unless you're just making your own up, like, and I don't know, I can't do that. So when I keep like the riddle-esque puzzles down, I try to make them interactive. Now, having that creative, nuanced room, we move on to this. It is a hole in the ground. It is a, like, I think I have my notes here. I think I said it was a 30-foot, might have been a 50-foot. I think it was a 50-foot hole in the ground. And that's it. yeah, especially online. But it's a, I haven't balanced the hole yet. What I'll do is I'll look at like who has rope and stuff, and if like everybody has a 20-foot rope, then it'll be a 100-foot hole in the ground. You know, it'll be one of those things where they don't quite have enough rope, and I just want to see how they handle that. You know. It's just one of those things. If they don't have enough rope and they don't have an answer, then the only answer they'll have is to fall the remaining distance. And usually what happens with that is if they physically have no way of succeeding otherwise, then I'm very, very gentle on the fall, right? That's it. You know, I'll make them like hit the ground and, oh man, you're hurting, whatever. No broken legs, no busted spines, none of that. Just a boo-boo. And, you know, make them fall like 15 feet, which still sucks in full gear. But I've rappelled down a, what was it, 100-foot tower in the military, and I watched someone fall, granted, into a rubber pit. I want to say it was 100. No, there's no way it's 100 feet. No, I think that's super high. Maybe it was a 20-foot rappel. I rappelled, okay, and it was tall and it was scary. And the point is like you can fall 20 feet and be okay. I think it was 20 feet. Yeah, we had to rappel up a 20-foot tower, and I watched someone fall off that. It was just like ah! They just landed in this like rubber pit, basically, not like a ball pit at McDonald's, like just like pellets. Oh man, whatever. So they'll get down this hole one way or another, and it literally just, and I'll decorate the room, later. These are basic textures, you know. So they'll get through here, and then they'll move into this hallway. Reason I actually designed this room, let me go back to it. This room right here is designed explicitly as a short rest stop. I like to include these every so often for players. You want to create natural spots where your players are going to think, you know what? Now it's probably a good time for a short rest. All that stuff we did, right? Like and it's a square room with one door entry, right? And you're like, all right, we can hold up here a little bit and take a short rest, you know. And the reason you do that is just to kind of keep your players from taking short rests in really awkward spots like the hallway where maybe you have patrolling enemies and stuff, and it lets you sort of balance the encounters and saying, okay, by this point reasonably they've probably had a short rest. So then you can say, all right, now the final boss, we'll balance it around them having a short rest. Now if they don't do that, you know, it's one of those things. You've got 5 players. Hopefully they thought to take a short rest. If not, hopefully the boss roll's bad. But they would proceed down this hall. Yeah, good to give them a brief reprieve. Yeah, completely agree. So they come down this hall, and what I'm planning on doing is having this room in front of them. I'm gonna make it like a bedroom, and this is gonna be our lore drop. So you notice that it's off the beaten path because this room will be optional. Now, most people, they come to a door, they must open the door. You know, it's like, there's a door here, I need to know what's on the other side. So realistically, they're going to want to open that door. My wife's walking around behind me. I saw it. Did you look for a camera? No, she's walking around behind me, and she's already like looking to see if I had a camera going. But most people, when they pass a door, they're like, I see the other door, I got that, but here's this door, I want to open it. And so they'll go in there, and what it'll be like a bedroom. It'll be like where the story behind this is that there was a warlock that some very bad things happened here. And they'll have their room, and they'll have some loot for the players so that it's not like a technical loss, you know, because there's nothing in there but lore. But there'll be some loot that the players can get. Maybe I'll put like a magic item in there just for funsies. And then they can read the lore of how this all happened, because some people really like that, and others couldn't give 2 halves of a whole fuck. So usually I'll make it a handout. And so I'll put the handout on screen, and then like players can read it or they can just move on. That you just leave that entirely up to them, because again, some people just don't care. That's where grouping comes in, and make sure you put a party together that is going to get, you know, jive really well. That's why Critical Role is so successful, is because their players are every player is super RP focused and super lore based, and they're really in that. You know, if any one of them or 2 of them were not into the voices and all that, then it would kind of push and pull on the party dynamic. So this room here has a big hole in the middle of it, which I'm not even going to begin to try to like tear the layers apart to show you how this looks, but it's about 5 different layers. To just make it look like there's a big ass burned hole in the floor. And the idea is that a pissed off patron deity for this warlock just blew a hole from down up, and just tore this place asunder. And we have the ghost of our warlock lady, and she'll basically, imply that she can undo it all, she can fix everything, she just needs a few more souls. And she asks the party if 2 or 3 of them wouldn't mind just jumping into that hole, which the party's going to decline, unless they just are done with their character. Yeah, sure, I'll hop in. The party naturally will decline jumping to their deaths. At which point this warlock is going to basically lose her shit and summon a bunch of stuff. So that's when the room will appear, this is my GM layer. But basically what we have here is, I like to do, you might have seen in other videos, I like to do cards. So these cards basically show you like, okay, this is the risen form of our warlock lady, this is our flesh giant, and these are our undead knights, right? And we'll put those on the screen for the players to see, and then we'll move them back to the GM layer. And then we have a couple of 3D, or not 3D, animated characters that we'll be using for the encounter, because I just think they look cool. So I've got the summoning circle, got the summoning circles that they'll appear from. I know it's lagging a little bit, but again, I think I've just overloaded my computer with the stream. But I've got these. Devin Knight made these, by the way. Devin Knight does wonderful tokens and other assets, and he's making these animated undead assets now as well. So I'm hoping that he makes a lot of money off of those and decides to make animated player character tokens as well. That'd be wonderful. But so this is what the player characters would encounter for their final battle, and this is going to be a pretty rough and tough one too, if I must say, because you've got 5 players and 4 enemies, so, and 2 of them ain't no joke. So we'll turn the GM opacity back down, and there you have it. There's the room again, and that is the dungeon. It's yeah, I think so too. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you thought it looked pretty cool. And the idea is obviously if the reason I wanted to create the hole in the middle of the room is because now, what are the players going to be doing? They're fighting these 4 monsters, and I'm going to tell you right now, the undead knights are chumps. They're just there to be like, oh god, there's more things that are trying to kill us. And the spinning vortex of doom that you saw earlier character, that one it's a caster. It's literally it's a warlock. Well, it's an archmage monster card, but it's a warlock, and it's just gonna be casting spells and making things difficult for the players. But it's not like this big meaty like guy's gonna reach down and grab somebody and bite their head off. You know, it's just a spell slinger, really, at the end of the day. And so you got the spell slinger, which is gonna cause problems, and then you got the 2 undead knights, which are just gonna be meat bags. I guess they're really not because they're skeletons, but you get the idea. They're just things that are designed to take damage. You create these things that the players can go and just start wailing on, let the fighters just start tearing them apart, right? And then the real major like kill threat is actually the flesh golem over here. And the reason he's dead is because 1, he's large, so he's big, he takes up a lot of space. He's so when he gets near you, the first thing players think of is, oh shit, I'm gonna get knocked off. I'm gonna get knocked into this hole. And the next thing is he does have, you know, some big attacks. He can lay down some big damage. And the idea, what we're trying to do here is that opening shock. So you want the players through the fight to feel like they're constantly fighting uphill, and they reach a point to where it's all downhill, right? So where they reach this critical point where they have defeated part of the enemy or cut off an arm or whatever, where the enemy now, the advantage is theirs. For the players. And so what will happen is once the players deal with these 2 undead knights, theoretically, then now, alright, we've got the flesh golem and the wraith / warlock thing. Okay, we outnumber them now. We've got the room divided, and hopefully, like, now a fighter can focus down the big guy while the spell slingers are fighting the other spells. Like, whatever, it doesn't matter. You know, the point is once those knights exist purely for opening shock of, oh god, we're 4 to 5. This room looks crazy. What the hell? And then once they like bash those knights into the ground, now they're gonna start getting some steam, some momentum, and feeling really good about themselves. And so, I like to do those whenever I can, because if you just put a boss in the middle of the room, that's good. I mean, it's really good, especially if you narrate it properly. But anytime you can use minions to make the players feel like they're, even against a really tough enemy, minions make the players still feel like badasses, because minions are there to get just absolutely clobbered, just wiped off the face of the earth. And I realized that my Lofi turned off a minute ago. Let's undo that. It's like, wait a second, this is an Lofi channel. But is it Lofi? I thought it was Lofi. It might be Lofi. Lofi? Whatever. But yes, so that is the dungeon for Eurolon, which is part 1 of 3 for this campaign. Which, when they get to the Spire, that's more of a, it's not a dungeon, it's more of a story pivotal moment, you know. So they'll arrive there, and there'll be some story that'll play out, and they'll be like, oh man, what do we do, you know. And I think I told you pretty much the entire thing. Say Lofi. Well, that's what I'm gonna say from now on. It's like we could be those people that say Mimi. You know, remember when memes were like first named, were coined, the current meme, and there were people that were like, have you seen this Mimi lately? And it's like, oh god, no, you're awful. We could be those people. We're like the memes of lo-fi. You know what I mean? We just call them Lofis. But yeah, so So now with that said though, this is Eurolon. Once they complete this chapter, they'll move over to part 2, which this will be like the introduction to part 2, which I'm actually thinking this intro panel is going to go to part 3, because part 3 is the part 3 is the downward climax, so the shit's exploding. So I'm thinking I'm going to use a different title card for part 2 and move that one just straight to part 3, because part 2 is here in Agadel. And this is less of an exploration map. See, the other one, I mean, I guess that's not true. Eurolon, the players only, if you saw the videos, the players have dynamic lighting on that one. There's a fog of war. They have to explore the whole map. Whereas Agadel, when they get here, it'll be, they'll see all this. They'll see all this right from the get-go. They'll have a map, basically. And it's because this one, they are going to be traveling a lot, all over, trying to help deal with, basically, there's this war between the people in the west and the wildlings in the east, and it's more complex than that. There's all kinds of very, very dark shit going on in the background. And then there's also a mage who lives out in Bixby Village. He's all mysterious and spooky. The Temple of St. Alabathus is I'm running 2 groups through this game right now, and one of my groups has a paladin who serves to St. Alabathus, and it's just a wild ride set up for them. But the idea, though, is that this map here is meant to be, they're going to just wander around until they stumble onto the plot. See, they have this general goal, which I won't reveal even for you, so you can, if you happen to watch the videos and if you want to follow along, there's going to be a general plot that they're following from Eurolon to here. And what I wanted to encourage, if the other one is linear, Eurolon is linear, it's get to the top of the mountain. This one is more, here's your objective, but no clear-cut way to get to it. And from a design perspective, what I've done is I've created several events all along the way, all throughout this place. And the events will change a little bit based off of the order at which they approach them. But I've just kind of left the door open where, like, an event that was supposed to happen in Agadel to get the story started could happen in Port Lions if the players maybe, we'll say, change the pacing up. They just go their own way. Or maybe they just make a beeline for the Temple of St. Alabathus, and maybe on their way there an encounter triggers the story. And the point is I just make it where improvisation is super easy to do, because nothing's really set concrete. So yeah, that was sort of how I did that. And these maps were made using Incarnate, which is this. Looks pretty basic bitch right now, doesn't it? But what I'm going to try to do is make Port Lions, and bear with me a little bit because I'm still getting familiar with Incarnate. But what I think I'm going to do is create a zoomed in version. We're going to cut it off right about here, and we're going to put some trees, and we're going to put just on the edge of the map, the river, just to give the players some sense of direction. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to subtract a little bit, and I'm going to, that's not subtract, I'm going to add. Well, I mean, it is subtract, but it's not the subtract that I wanted. What I'm I think Incarnate's great. I'm obviously super new to it, so I've never used Incarnate until this campaign, so I'm still learning some of the tricks with it, and I'm gonna figure out more or less how I want to do it. So you just kind of have to bear with me because I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I've kind of gotten the layering down, and I understand a little bit about how it works, and you know, we'll kind of see how it goes. You know, let's add. I don't like that. I don't like how that's gonna turn out. So I think what I'm gonna be doing is literally just not using the water, and instead use the road to insinuate that direction. So let's, because I don't like how skinny I've got to make it. I don't like when I have to. Maybe it's just personal preference right now. So it's an L shape. So let's subtract up to here. Doesn't have to be perfect, obviously. I'm just kind of getting a general idea, general feel. Yeah, just an L. Just a happy little L. I think I took off too much. I did. Welcome to the map making process. For me. Apparently it's trash. That'll work. That'll work. Alright, so what do we do? We just did sand and then village. Alright, I'm not going to make this too complicated then. I'm going to give myself a personal mark over here. Note to self, snow is the road. Snow is the road. There we go. So that'll run through the north side of town. And let's see here. We have grass. So let's just give a grass base layer. What kind of grass do I want? Kind of want dirty grass. So let's go through here. And let's just grass it up. Let's just paint some happy little grass. And there we go. Yeah, all along there. Just get in there. God, if Bob Ross strikes me down, guess I wouldn't blame him. But while I'm doing this, Zook, now's probably a good time to ask you, what's the overall streaming quality here? I hate to be that guy that's like, hey man, you want to help me with my stream? But I've never done it. I don't like. Is the video and the audio sound okay? Is it hiccuping? It says excellent quality, but I don't know how true that is. What do you think from your professional experience watching people struggle at streaming? Alright, let's get a little bit of sand. How should I break up the sand? I think what we'll do is we'll use this, and then we'll use a lighter sand. So let's bring our size down. Ooh, need a little more than that. Let's come in here and just break it up a little bit. It's much better now. It lags sometimes, but it's not half bad. Okay, so sometimes, is it like buffering on your end, or is it like my screen's just sort of laggy, like frame rate wise? Okay, there we go. That's pretty good for breaking it up. We'll come in, we'll touch it up in a minute. Let's get some sand. Oh, which sand? Sometimes I like to use parchment sometimes. Let's see how parchment looks on this one. No, that looks too much like parchment, I think. Yeah, that would look better in like a sandy desert, I think, but not here. Let's get let's get some normal looking sand, and then actually I don't think I have normal looking sand, turns out. We'll do this. That looks a little better, I think. I need some more of it. Oh yeah, that's sand. Not buffer and frames sometimes drop, but it's really not that bad. Okay. So if it's something that maybe if YouTube will let me review my stream, like if it's got like a playback feature, maybe I can check it out and see and just kind of modify it. And it may just come down to hardware. I mean, I'm on a laptop, and it's a decent laptop, but it's not like it's a built to stream laptop or anything like that. So that looks not too bad. I think what I need to do is I need to get my this, and let's push the coastline back just a little bit further. Just kind of push that back there. And then let's get some more sand. And then we'll break this up in a minute with some pathways and stuff like that. Kind of just help to blend it in. But, is this the one we used? No, it was the lighter one. Yeah, it was this one, right? Yeah. Wish I could favorite them or have like a bar, you know what I mean, on the side, like with Photoshop and things like that, of just textures and things like that I've used. Okay. It's not doing it much anymore. It might have just been density of the dungeon before. You know what? Honestly, it probably was, because, like you said, that had a lot going on in it. And that's where I try to be really, really careful, because if it can have all this cool shit, but then, alright, that's great, but it runs at a crisp 8 frames a second, basically, which no one likes, you know. So, alright, What are we thinking here? What are we thinking? I'm not gonna worry about the top layer yet. I want to break this up a little bit. I think what I'll do is I'll grab my original dirt here. I'll take some of the opacity away, size it up, and I'm gonna need a little bit more opacity than that. Let's try 46, and we'll just come through here. It's not bad, but I'm gonna need a little bit more. Yeah, that works. And let's just circle through, make it natural, and hit a top layer. There we go. That really helps break that grass up. I have a campaign for the future that has a lot of mega dungeon stuff, and it's hard to make them without cutting them up or not adding a lot of detail. I know, and I hate that, and it's just, I get it. It's Roll20 is a browser and not a dedicated application. Man, it sucks. So, let's see. We broke that up. Let's, let's take this and let's remove some of the softness and see what I can get. Okay, alright. Let's do this. There we go. Looks pretty natural, I think. I mean, as natural as this is gonna get for now. And what we got? We got woods to the north. Okay. Let's go grab some trees. Do we have regular trees or pine trees? We got pine trees. Alright. We'll do 115% scale. And we'll just shree it up a little bit. Okay, there's some trees, and we want a road. Don't want to do my road just yet, but I feel like I need to give something basic for the road, but I don't know what texture to use. I'm always bad with roads because I use a mouse, so I can't make the roads as straight as I want. Let's try using this wasteland texture and see how that does. Let's do a size 50, very soft, not very opaque. And let's just get started. Kinda sorta painting a basic road. We can come back through here later and undo that road a little bit. But we want maybe I want it to be a little further to the north. Maybe I want this to be my road. And maybe it dips down. Or should it dip up? I think I might be able to work with that actually. Let's keep this. Let's increase the opacity. And let's do that. Yeah. I'm super focused right now. Okay, so having done that, let's go back and let's grab our dirt. What we'll do is we'll actually grab our grass, completely paint over the old road, and then dirt it up. So our grass was the ugly grass. Make it opaque, and let's just grass it up. There we go. Yeah. Doesn't look half bad. And then let's reacquire our dirts. What do we use for dirts? We used... God, I'm so bad at this. We used land 6? I think so. Let's just dirt it up a little bit. There we go. Not too bad. Alright. Let's grab some blue buildings. Yeah, the only thing about Incarnate is trying to do really zoomed in maps of any kind, because if you really think about it, it's pretty limited. It's good for doing terrains. I'll say that. Terrain painting, phenomenal for that. But trying to do like, oh yes, this is a village, you end up with like, let me show you this. So I think it's good. I mean, I like it, but ravine wood, right? It's like, it took me entirely too long to make this. And if you think about it, look how many different types of buildings are here. it's and I don't even know why I put the hills in the middle. I think I just did it to just break it up. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to use a bunch of like building textures for this little village. But then I was like, well, how do I spread it out? How do I make it look different? So the problem is making with these zoomed in maps. I don't know why I'm coming back here. The problem making these zoomed in maps is like, I feel like I don't have a lot of buildings, and I'm a pro subscriber, but I get it. You know, it's whatever. It's just a simple little tool. I just want to complain, damn it. So this, what we'll do is we'll take, because this is the icon for the town, but I don't want to just plop that down and be like, all right, yep, there you go. It's that, but bigger now, you stupid. But I need to find like some houses and such that, do I have a dock here as well that I can get for a basic dock texture? Would it be reasonable to assume that some little rivers maybe ran through this town? No, because this is just a region map, not a world map, so the rivers that exist would be on here. So no, I'm not gonna retcon my map. It requires stuff like that to spruce it up so it doesn't feel like a Minecraft village. Exactly. You just gotta have to, because yeah, if it's all flat, you're just like, ugh, it's hard to look at after a while. You know, you want to add some texture, some meat and potatoes to it, and now I want meat and potatoes. So normally what I'll do is I'll either go into Photoshop or Roll20, and I'll add a little bit, you know. But let's reuse you for a minute. I don't like doing that, but let's pop another of those down, and we'll use you for comparison, and you for comparison, and just fuck it. You know what? We'll just use all of you guys. We have plenty of ends, that's for sure. We'll use them all for comparison, though, and get the one we like later. They have plenty of Eastern stuff. God, if I ever do a Weeaboo campaign, which I might do that, well, then we may have to use these. I don't like using the dragons and stuff. I said textures. I guess technically it is kind of texture. I don't like using the dragons because then it's like, all right, we go and we defeat the dragon, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, all right, well, it's not coming off the map because that's built into it. Let's grab a couple of dock pieces and maybe we'll manipulate those around a little bit. This is also why these like docks and stuff, these are the reasons why I use my isometric tokens for these. So like for these maps, so you notice on my other maps how I had the top-down view, but on these I have the isometric tokens as described here, because the only perspective available in Incarnate is isometric. All of their images are isometric. All of, like, you know, everything is isometric. Even when you're doing the terrain painting, and this is maybe just me. Maybe it's because I have the isometric, like, we'll call them tokens, but you know, they're just pictures. Even though I have the, like, even if I remove it out of the screen, it feels like I'm looking at this from the side rather than the top. I don't know, maybe it's just a perspective that I've imposed upon myself here, but either way, I can't make top-down maps in Incarnate. So I just make them, even especially because if you come down here and you like try to grab this and rotate it, that is clearly not downward facing. It is broken. So you can't, it gives you the option to spin them, but let's be honest, can you really? Not really. At least not in the short experience I've had. I have a folder full of buildings from RTSs that are PNGs so that I can use them for maps like this. Yes, yes, you get it, you understand. I do the same thing. That and like GIFs and backgrounds and images and all kinds of other stuff. Just tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff. I like using these though. These are like the same things for like with my transparencies and stuff. I like these, but this area is pretty flat, so I can't use them to break anything up here, unfortunately. Ugh, sad. But let's see. We will need a banner at some point, but I'll leave that alone for now. I like to use banners on these little villages and stuff because it looks good. Clock tower. Yeah, I like the blue theme. I wish there was more blues. Let's see what my buildings look like here. Eastern houses, farms, dwarven, desert, graveyard, town 2. Ha 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 ha. Yes. All right, so let's just get me your array of buildings, please. Thank you. All right. I like the size already. But I do need you, clock tower, to be more impressive. But for now, let's just put you off to the side. We'll come back to you. We'll make this the center of the town, and then we'll build onto it. So let's go back to these. I hate these are in different categories, but whatever. Let's take you, and what we want to do, what I think we want to do here is we want to add, hang on, we gotta get these other buildings out of the way. You definitely don't fit. You definitely don't fit. Don't fit. You don't fit, but you look like an inn. You look like, hey, come to me. So I'm going to use this as that thing I was talking about before, like draw the player's attention in. That's what you're going to do. But let's create a natural road, like through here. I wonder. I don't want to break that up. I don't want to. How do we look on our map here? Yeah, it looks like it just runs through the town, and I want to preserve that. So what I'm thinking is, we could take some of our trees and move them up. But I think what we'll do is we'll accidentally click on two things at once. That's how we're going to do it to start. But we'll come down here, and this will be a walkway, and it will transition here. Let's get something to kind of force the direction. I hate the shape of this. We'll put it down here to make it visually pleasing to the eye. Kind of line that up. And then we'll move this here, maybe? Maybe not. Maybe we'll put it here because it's identical. Yeah. And then we'll take you and put you here on the edge next to, yeah, we'll put the tavern next to you because that'll be near the players as they enter. So we'll have a little tavern there. And now let's just, man, what to do with this? I want it to look like it's all one object, because I'm going to paint roads, basically. So let's put you here, although it looks a little fringy. Let's see. There we go. And let's bring you in a little bit closer, and let's grab our big clock tower friend here. Oh, it looks horrible. Horrid. What if I bring you to the front? Which you would be anyway, but I brought you to the front, and then I don't think the clock tower is going to be able to do it. I don't think, even if we rescale it, because it definitely looks like it just stands out. So push you back to, wait, what the hell? Oh, I'm just looking at the perspective wrong. I was like, wait, why are these two buildings sticking out above it? I push it to the front. But I think unfortunately this one just, can that work? No, it's way too jarring. It just doesn't fit with anything. I mean, I recognize that I can push stuff to the back and to the front, but what if we push you to the front down here? Does it look a little better like that? What I'll do is I will paint the roads, and we'll see how it looks after I've done that. So I'm going to try covering the statue in the city center, putting it over the statue in the city center. Okay, let's give that a shot and see how that looks. Which one were you? Were you buildings or statues? You were or objects. All right, so no, I just want the. Oh God, why are you doing this to me? There we go. So putting it over the statue in the city center. And let's pull the city center to the front. Oh. Yeah, that's gonna be awkward. Okay, shit. Ooh, I wish I could just push you behind one little texture, because unfortunately it's sitting on top of those. If I could just smidge it in there, in front of the statue, but this is all one texture. Damn it! Alright, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it here and make it look like that's where it belongs, and we'll paint the roads, and if it doesn't look right, then we'll just rip it out, you know, whatever. But alright, let's grab my wasteland. Let's make it, it's very soft, very small, and I think I want to do wasteland through here. Let's see. Okay. Obviously we'll need, you know, a bit more opacity there, but I just wanted to see generally how it's gonna look. I think that'll look good though. Let's crank it up to 6.5 and let's just get her in there. Okay, let's get down in there, and I won't paint to the docks yet because we don't know where the docks are going to be. Not a bad look. I might put some farms up here or out here maybe. I don't know. I'm not gonna dwell on that one just yet because this is a fishing village. This is a port. Oh man, I could expand it out a little bit, make it a little bigger. But yeah, I think we'll build the port, and then that'll tell us whether or not this clock tower's got to go. So let's get in here. Actually, let's get in here. And let's see. I kind of want to mess around with the farms a little bit, or maybe the markets. So we could build up like maybe a fishing market, but they wouldn't be on the sand. That's the problem. Like, you know, it wouldn't look right on the sand. I know I'm probably being picky right now, but let's get a couple of market textures down, and let's get ourselves. Let's get some rocks. Just kind of add a little bit of depth out here. Oh man. And just palm trees all on the coastline. I think I'll stick with that for a minute and see what we got in our buildings here. Definitely want some boats. But not these boats. Why do we only have Asian style, well, Grecian and Asian style boats? Why can't we just have normal boat? Well, I guess normal is a relative term. What time is it? Oh, it's 3:30 in the morning. Oh, okay. Never mind. I found the other boats that I was begging for. I guess I will shut up now. And I'll make them a good size. And let's grab one more to make it real. I think that's the same one. Whoops. I don't know the difference. Let's grab you for now, but you know, you're on tumultuous waves. You look like you're sailing. Don't want you. I want one that looks like it's at port. Which I think the closest we're probably going to get is that. That'll work for now. Alright. For now, I think I'm gonna grab a windmill and put it off, and a well and put it off, and this will be if we potentially do those farms we were talking about. Let's see what we can come up with here. I think it's starting to come together, but we're gonna need a little bit more. We'll get a couple of these off to the side for now. We're not gonna really bank on having hay piles or anything like that, but I want to have a couple of textures to just remind me. We'll get some farms out there, just like just something for thought here, because it would be about that time. So let's see. Moving on from that, though, we're going to be building our port, and I'm thinking that's not in this, is it? This is our farm stuff. We'll get a couple of textures for it. We'll deal with them in a minute. All right, so we got those. Not even sure if I'm going to use them, but we've already put our market stuff out here. So now, if I do this. If I line the coastline with it, just kind of making it like a district almost. Get this out of the way. Get out of the way, you. All right, but maybe making sort of a. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll go just like that. Excuse me, pardon me. Just kind of. This sort of gypsy camp style thing going on, and it's like this is the seaside, and then we'll grab our. Excuse me. Can I Control C, Control V on Incarnate? I can't, or at least if I can, I'm doing it wrong. All right, I need another dock, and I also need a search feature. What size are you? 114. Why 114? A very unspecific number that I'm using. Give me a Darkest Dungeon. Ah, God, I want to play Darkest Dungeon. I know I'm so far behind. It came out, I think it came out while I was in Afghanistan. I'm in the army, if I didn't clarify that. I think it came out while I was in Afghanistan, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally gonna get out there and I'm gonna play Darkest Dungeon, and then I just didn't, because it's super hard to download anything from my Switch out there. So it just kind of didn't happen, you know. Should I do one more of those and then like branch it out, I wonder? Let me do that and then go from there. Okay, so we got that, and now we'll grab a couple more of these, and then we'll angle it. I think we'll angle it at the end. So we'll bloop, and we'll blop, and we'll bloop, blop, and then maybe we'll blip. But hold on, we gotta get these friggin' boats. They're being super duper rude right now. Wait, are the boats? Okay. Let's say, what layer are the boats on? Alright then, and we'll just kind of, and then maybe one more on the other side. Let's see kind of how that's going to turn out. It has been announced, but if you could get it on Steam, it's really great. I love anything that's got good mods, especially, and so I was really kind of wanting to get in on that and just be a part of it while it's still a thing, you know, and see where it goes. It may go nowhere. I mean, like for me, like I may not play it at all, or I may play it to death. I don't know. We'll see. But I definitely want to check it out. So I'll let you know if we get to talk again how it went for me. Hopefully we get to talk again. So there's that. Let's pull it to the front. Let's not. Let's push it back to the back. That looks awful. At least it looks, even if it looks rinky-dink like this, it looks better than... that works. And there we go. I think that's not too awfully bad. And then if I wanted to get crazy, we could create subports. So we got, I guess really ships kind of, I hope we do. I guess ships kind of pull up alongside realistically, don't they? They kind of like this would be a harbor, or not a harbor, but I'm not a boat person. I don't boat. But like like they would pull up alongside, right? More or less. So they would kind of, and then I would just get in here and just kind of like, and then just kind of, right? Am I right? I hope I'm right. Because you can't turn these. You can't make them sideways. So I'm just gonna kind of, they're in port. How do they get out? I don't know. No one does. Shut up. They're just here. They've got to refill on their fish bait and juice. I don't know how it works. I don't boat. Alright, let's get back in here and let's just do and we'll just kind of weasel that in there a little bit. Ever so gently. A little bit there. A little bit there. Okay, looks a little bit natural, a little bit well worn. Kind of. It's about as close as you're gonna get it. They'll just go in reverse. Yeah, just beep, 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 beep. Back out. Kill me. I think I want to break this this up a little bit here, though. This is a very hard line. So I think what we're gonna do is we're going to add. We're gonna remove the size. And we're just gonna kind of do it the wrong way. Nope, that's the right way. Yeah, no, that's fine. And we'll just come through with our sand here in a minute, and we'll just kind of sand it up. Okay. Now, give me that sand. Which one did I use for the sand? I think it was this one. Yeah, it was. Okay. Let's just make it very opaque. Yeah, there it is. Okay. That's a little edgy. Edgy. We'll just kind of get in there and just soften that out. Oh, I don't think we did a good job. Okay. I think that'll work. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably fine. Right? Right? Ooh. Okay. I think that'll be okay. If I have to, I can clean it up in a minute. The big thing, I think, is going to be, one, grabbing this building here. I hate that they're on different layers. Bringing that in, just a schmackle. And then I want to do a farm out here. I just don't know how I want to do the farm out there. Looking fly, thank you. You're the only reason I do this channel. It's literally just for you. You're the reason. All right. Okay. I want to do a farm. So, well, I want to build a farm and then decide if I want to keep a farm. So let's just bring things in one at a time. So let's get everything out of the way, and let's say, okay, so I guess all of this stuff is on a different layer. Great. No, great. No, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. So we'll do a windmill, and then we'll say, okay, we've got. Okay, I hate this. So windmill's got a little farmhouse over there. And I just don't like the look of that, honestly. I'm just gonna get rid of that. And we'll say there's this, maybe? I don't know. We need fields though. We need fields. So we know we're gonna be growing stuff in the growery. It's a given fact. So Let's find the farm stuff. Where did I put it? There it is. And let's get the growery going. That's huge. Maybe. Maybe. Doesn't look awful. Doesn't look good, though. Let's... Would I prefer this? Ooh, man. Wow, so much to choose from. I kind of prefer this look. Get some more fields. It's just... Pew, pew. Pew, pew, pew. Just get like 6 of those. Alright. And then... I'm sorry to put you through this. Please forgive. Alright, actually, just grab... Nope, there we go. Grab them. Move them up just a little bit. Okay.
People I work for want what you have.
Oh, YouTube ad.
A surprising kind of superpower story.
We're making somebody some money.
It's not pulling any punches. Beautifully visualized and taught as hell. Maddie Hassan is a sparking mark
Okay.
from the director of the Born Identity and Register
Actually, ooh, let's give it a little bit of a path. There we go.
now streaming
Damn it.
only on YouTube.
Damn it. I just want to click one thing. There we go. It's like watching me work on maps, but faster. No, I'm definitely not. It's probably just easier to watch than it is to do. You know what I mean? I have zero doubts in your abilities. Okay, so let's... In fact, I would be willing to argue that you could do it better. Gasp, I know, but you have got this, mi amigo, as the French say. And yes, I'm aware it's the Spanish. I just thought it was funny at the time. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'm going through the hell of tracing the walls of a mega dungeon for a future campaign. Yes. Oh my God. You're talking about for dynamic lighting? Is that what you're doing right now? Yeah, God. Dynamic lighting. I mean, obviously I love it. I mean, dynamic lighting is a wonderful, wonderful tool. But, yes, tracing everything out and then going through it to make sure, like, that it lines up properly. That's a big one. It's like, alright, is there anything that the players are going to see that I don't want them seeing, you know? And you have to kind of work on that. But, the farm didn't turn out too bad. I was worried it was going to be very jarring, but I don't think it looks bad. I don't think it looks as good as it could. I wonder if I came through here and added some more farms, but like the different directions where they at. If we used do we have forward-facing ones? Is that what these are? Kind of. Yeah, kind of. Let's plop a few of these down and see if we can't kind of break up some of this open space out here, because this place, in my mind, I see it being very busy and having a lot going on. That's kind of why I wanted, because it's a port, you know, and they're growing crops and selling schmackos and wackles, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. Okay, alright. Does that look like too much? Let me add another layer. Just... And let's do one more line of wheat. And see how that looks. I wanted it to be full. I wanted to fill it out and just have it really look like this area was full of life and people doing stuff and working on the farms and using a white and black image as a diagram, tracing it, and then I'm going to decorate and delete the little diagram after. That's perfect. That's pretty much kind of what I do. I showed it in one of my videos. I think it was one of the first map creation videos I made of like the winter crossing, where I like it's not a dungeon obviously, so it's a lot different, but I just block everything out. So I'll just create like lines of stuff, and it's just like, this is the roads, or these are paths, these are buildings, these are rooms, whatever the case may be. And then I go in and I texture it all out, and I do all the blocking on the GM layer, and then I lay all the textures down, and then I go to the GM layer and just delete all the lines. But I think I'm happy with how this turned out. I might do. I'm really digging the tower. It looks like it fits now. I'm wondering how I should do. If there's any more blending I need to do with the terrain. I'm afraid I'm gonna screw it up. Let's see. Throw some purple on there. You know, just why not, right?
You're getting ready for a night out.
What about the water? I haven't really messed. So we know this is actually ocean, but can I do anything with it right now? I don't think so. Yes, this is ocean, but I wish I could mess with that ocean texture a little bit. Ooh, we got better oceans. I might regret this, but let's add, and let's come through here and let's just add it up. Now it's a dry ocean. It's just a dry riverbed. They're stuck in the mud. All right, let's go in here, and I want some nice sparkling water here. Apparently none of these are. That's fine. Whatever. This is very dark. Let's just use ocean for a minute. See how that goes. Although it is layering much nicer now. It's less of a sharp drop off than when we had just the using the other tool. Let me try to get this edging done real quick. Oh no. You know, I actually have never said the P word in my entire life. And I know that it's just me being weird. It's just, I don't like the way it sounds, like, in my mind, trying to say it. You know? Like, the P word. Like, in my head, it just seems nasty. Like, it doesn't bother me to hear it. Like, you know, I know it's a word. Like, it's just like, I feel like it would feel weird saying it with my mouth. So I just don't. I know that sounds dumb. It's who I am. I already like this better. Yeah, this is much better already. Oh, it looks way better. It already looks way better. Alright. And let's grab maybe some... I don't want to grab green because it's too stark, but let's grab... no. Maybe if we do the opacity some, because I want to layer that area there. So let's grab blue, fix that. It's all good. I don't say normal words. I like to make them complicated so that I can pretend to be smart. Oh, trust me. I'm a writer, and like I get that completely. I write vaginal crease. Well, first of all, now I'm using that. That is my word now. But I'm the same way. I write. Now whether or not I write well, yeah, depends on who you ask. But I am trying to get published this year with my main novel, No One's Hero, and me and my editor are pretty confident that it's gonna do well enough, you know. But you know, we'll see how far confidence gets us. But I'm just playing around with water right now. Don't mind me. but I'll just like find myself using words, and I'm like, I don't say these words in real life. I'm faking it. I'm a huge faker. Yeah. It looks like it's frozen, honestly. I don't like that. I think I may just use the regular water. I just don't think I have enough water to work with. I think that's just what it's going to be. I'm not going to be able to, like, blend this because there's just not much water to really work with. So, yeah, I think we'll just leave it. We'll just, you know, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. There we go. I think that might be a wrap. We'll have to put our banner on here for sure. Kind of like this one. Nope, that looks broken and jagged. I need something very... Welcome to Port Lions, or whatever the fuck it was. Okay. What is it? Port Lions, what I thought. Alright. Port Lions. And let's grab it. Put it dead center. How about the size? 28. How's that? Does it look like it's still part of the banner? No, not really. Needs to be a little smaller. Like 25. Come on, let me type the number in. I just want to type 25. I just want 20. There. Yeah, whatever, close enough. Alrighty. I've tried to write before too, but I have taken a long break. Last time I had a publisher breathing down my neck before the concept was even done. Oh man, I think you should do it. I think that well, let me rephrase that. I think that if it's something you want to do and you feel drawn to do, then you should. Whether or not, don't write to publish. Write because you enjoy it. And publishing can maybe be a benefit. I know that's like really bold words coming from somebody who isn't published. I'm self-published, and No One's Hero, it's got a cult following. We're pushing about 80,000 views right now, and that's not. I mean, that's nice, you know. It's not like paying the bills, but it's nice. It's not 80,000 books sold though, you know. But it's just a little cult hit web novel series from like the little my few fans that I have, but I want to publish it properly, because if I'm able to publish that and a couple other stories that I'm working on, then I might be able to write for a living. I might be able to do that as my job, and I would love that. That would be amazing. So. In the meantime, though, I'm making D&D maps, and I'm just playing around, and, you know, I mentioned it before, but I just got home from Afghanistan, and I'm on leave right now, so I'm just kind of playing games with my friends and working on editing No One's Hero, so we'll see how that goes. But all in all, Port Lions, I think I'm satisfied with it. I think I'm good with this. I don't think I want to add any more to it. I think it has everything it needs. It's got boats, it's got buildings, it's got roads, it's got farms, which I don't think they look shoehorned in. I think they look fine. So I think we're good on that front. Let's see. Here's Port Lions on the map. It only has 2 boats. Hey, not saying it's perfect, but 2 boats. Just saying. So I think it worked out pretty well. Can't complain. So I will save, and it's going to be a strong map. Looking good. Thank you very much. I'm very pleased with it as well. We'll download it and accidentally close it. I didn't want to do that. I can't remember if I have my weird crazy folders on my front screen here. Hopefully not, because that's what's going to pop up in front of you. Let's go to downloads. I'm kidding, kind of. I have a folder literally titled like weird hentai shit, and there's nothing in it. It's not like, this is it. Or yeah, smug anime girls. I have one of those too. In case you haven't noticed, I'm into anime. But But either way, I'll put like random folders on my desktop, and then just people pass by and see it, and it's like, what? So, all right, so let's create a map. Beep beep, beep beep, and let's drag Port Lions onto here. And yeah, I try to do as much as I can with my maps because my players appreciate it. But the reason I really try to do really strong maps, really vivid maps, is frankly because I'm really bad at scene setting. So it's like personal weakness I overcome by overcompensating in other ways. I don't do so well. Ahiga mind break exactly. make that my thing. But I'm not so good with and this isn't my writing. This is true for my writing too. I'm not so great with like describing scenes very well. So I'm working on that in my writing, obviously. But for D&D, I mean, I started making these scenes because I didn't do so well with okay, and then you enter a blah blah blah, and there's this and this and this and this and this, and so instead I'm just like, all right, here's where you're at, and there you can see it. It's like in front of you. Congratulations. So, oh, took off too much there. I need 4 off the bottom. But just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around the moon. I'm pretty sure I got all of it there, but let's just verify real quick. 30. That's what I thought. Okay. I gotta sneeze again. You ready? There it was. Oh, I knew it was coming. I called it. So, alright, so we got that. Let's push it back to the map layer. We don't really need to add anything to it for now. I mean, we're still gonna add like a location for it and all this other stuff. I've got, you know, stuff over here on the right in the encounters and stuff like that, but I'll worry about that in a little bit. So we've got the map. I don't like grids. Personal preference, obviously there's nothing wrong with grids, but personal preference, once I'm done with something, grids go away. But okay. And there we go. We've talked about an entire dungeon and made a map. I guess that categorizes this as a success. I understand I'm really bad at writing character arcs that are something you've probably already seen 100 times. I like writing worlds, cultures, and that kind of thing. So it's the opposite for me. Characters and individual character stories is like that is my forte. I've got characters. I love characters. I do characters very well, I think. It's worlds that I struggle with, and I guess it's not in a way because I do have the worlds. I've done fantasy worlds. I've done pseudo fantasy. We're using like the real world in a modified setting. Like I got that. I can do that. It's conveying that to the reader I struggle with at times, where I'm trying to like, I have this huge world in my head, and then I'm like, and then there's magic, and there were places, and it was great. Now, back to the will they, won't they love drama that's going on. You know, like I just have such a difficult time world building, and I've gotten better at it. And I've learned certain ways to do it, but man, for the longest time there, trying to build a world and convey it to the readers was just not something I was good at. So, you know, but, you know, getting better. Always getting better. I maybe use way too much audio for my players. More than they'll ever need. Oh, man. I guess I'm proud of this, though. So it worked out pretty well. Thank you very much for helping me out. Maybe one day we'll have 10 billion followers. You were the person that made this this stream worth finishing. Oh man. But yeah, this was good. I think I think when I'm doing this, I'll just stream more. We both suffer with overcompensating our music. Yeah, I do way too much. I'm doing a campaign. Well, I'm playing in a campaign with my buddy Josh. He's one of the players in this one. The person who plays as Magnus Alara in this campaign. He's you're very welcome. He's hosting his own campaign, which we played today. We played the start of today, and I play this character named Adrian Cross, which is this. He's a necromancer, and he's cursed with re-life, meaning when he dies, he comes back to life in a different world, a different universe. He's not undead. It's just dying resets him back to the age he was when he died the first time, and his abilities are back to that state. So it's like a reset button, but instead of resetting back to the beginning of the game, he restarts in a different universe, a different world, he starts all over again. And he's died 13 times by the start of this campaign, so now he's just fed up with it. He goes through this character arc of like being a hero, dying a hero for various reasons, and then trying to be heroic in the new world and find a way home, and fails again, dies again. And this happens a few times before he reaches a point where he's like, fuck it, and he starts doing like bad things. It starts off where he just tries to live like a normal life, and then he dies, and now he's like, I lived a life, I wasn't a hero, and when I died of old age, I reset anyway. He's like, so he's mad now because he can't even die and be done. So he goes on this streak of villainy, and he's this neutral evil tiefling necromancer. And then by the start of this campaign with Josh, this is his 14th life, and he's just kind of sitting there thinking like, what am I doing? Why am I doing any of this? All the bad things he's done at this point, or even the good things. He's just very blah, and so this character, this campaign we'll see his character arc go from this villainous way about doing his life to rediscovering the old heroics that he used to have. And so we'll see how that goes. It might be a total flop, but I think it's going to be good. We'll certainly see. But I'll be uploading it as well. I recorded the video of the first session today, so I'll upload it and see how our small little group of subscribers takes to it. I mean, it's one of those things. It's uploading 4-hour-long videos is kind of daunting for people who don't really care. But definitely dynamic character art could lead a lot. That's what I'm hoping for. I've got some interesting stuff in mind too with some of the casts, so we'll see how it goes. But I think I might call it a night. It's already super early. My sleep schedule is completely fucked up because of being on leave. But it's 4 a.m. here. I don't know what time it is where you are, but it's 4 a.m. here. So I need to try to get some semblance of sleep for tomorrow. I've got a big day. I'm gonna sit around and do nothing the entire day, so it's gonna be great. Take care of my dogs, give them a few walks, but that's it. So I'm gonna get out of here, but thank you again for helping me with the stream, helping me get my stuff set up, and next time I do something like this, hopefully you or somebody, but hopefully you'll be around. And it's 3 a.m. for you. I don't want to tell you how to live your life, but might I suggest you also get some sleep. So have a good night, and again, thank you for watching the stream. I really appreciate it.